Good afternoon, everybody, and I hope everybody is doing very well. So we have another breakdown video today. Today we have USDCAD from today's New York session. Again, as I did say, apologies for not doing the couple trades from last week. I'll be honest with you, I was just really busy, and then by the time I went to sit down and do it, the candles had changed, and it was just, you know what it's like when the candles are changing in replay mode. It was almost impossible to explain. But from now on, as I said, all of the wins and the losses will be broken down this way as well, because I know you guys like this way. Anyway, let's stop rambling on. So let's delete all of this. And we'll do what we usually do, and we'll start from the open of the session. Just get one more candle in. Cool, let's go down to the 1 minute, as that's our starting time frame. So what we know we need to do at this point is we basically need to find our ranges, right? So we need to find our situation 1 range and our situation 2. Now, in terms of this, it is a good idea just to zoom out quickly, because sometimes you will have like a huge impulse and your major range ends up being like all the way up here and all the way down here. But in this scenario here, it's all nice and simple. We can just look at this point here. So you've got an obvious high, an obvious low, break of structure, successful retrace. We stay in that range. That range then got broken at this point here, of which then we had this high. We know this is the high. Why? Because it's the last body break above. And then where's our low? We know it's this one. How do we know it's that one? Because we get our body break and our pullback back above. So that is our current situation 1 range. Okay, hope that makes sense. So let's mark out our minor. So we create this minor high and we create this minor low. Okay, from here onwards, what do? We break structure to the upside, so we get our minor intent. Okay, so let's mark out the high and let's move our low to the low, which was here. Okay, why is that the low? Because that's where the last body break was. Why is that the high? Because that's where the pullback starts. So from the very start of this session, we are currently stuck in both ranges. There's absolutely nothing to do yet. So basically what we need to happen is we need a high or a low to break, and then we can adjust from there. So let's continue to play. Okay, so nothing to do until a high or a low breaks. Cool, so we get a really impulsive break to the downside. Let's get rid of this and this because that's not relevant anymore. Now, in this scenario here, we have obviously our situation 1 and our situation 2 previous low break at the same time. So in this scenario, I will simply just follow major from here on, because they do both match up. Obviously, our minor OB and our major OB is going to be at the same point in time in here. So let's mark out our high. So there's our high, and let's wait for our low to form. Okay, so at this point here, our low forms. How do we know that? Because we get that body break, so let's mark out that. Now, in this situation here, there's absolutely nothing we can do still if you're like me and you only trade situation 1 and situation 2, okay? Why is that? Because currently our break of structure is coming from a previous structure point within the previous session, okay? So at this point here, we're going to either need a break to the upside or a break to the downside, and then that's going to come our situation 1 intent. Of course, what we can also do is create minor structure within inside this major range, and then we can trade from there. So let's continue to play. And I believe this candle breaks. Yep, so what do we then get? We get our first intent inside the session, okay? So let's get rid of this. We can keep our low on for now because it's exactly the same. What do? Let's have a little check of the next time frame. Nothing's happened on the 2 minute yet. Our 2 minute high is here. So let's go back to the 1 minute and continue to play. Okay, so a couple more candles in. You should be aware that your 2 minute high was also there. So we've also broken the 2 minute. Let's continue to move through the time frames and see what's going on. Was that a 3 minute break as well? Break of structure, successful retrace. Break of structure, successful retrace, break of structure. Yes, it was. That's also the high. And then on the 4 minute, also the high. And on the 5 minute, also the high. In this scenario, I believe it was minor. Yeah, exactly that. So in this scenario, I'm just going to follow the 4 minute because it's visually more clear to me than the 5 minute. The POIs are in the exact same spot. So, we don't have any conflict going on. We don't need to worry too much. It's just whatever's going to be clearer for your eye to follow from this point on. So obviously we have this whole range here. For me, I like to refine it down to the imbalance, especially in this scenario here, because obviously we've got this wick trick. So this candle gives us our lowest selling point, obviously within this wick here. And then obviously it's where the imbalance and the momentum comes in. So this is where I have my alert ready for the mitigation. So let's continue to play. We get another strong push up, so really nice momentum on this one. We then create our high, so let's mark out that. Now, what's happened here? So we've had our intent inside the session, and we've had our successful retrace start. So we know the only thing now we need to wait for is this successful retrace leg needs to touch our impulsive OB, respect our OB, and then go to break structure again. Okay, so let's wait for that. Okay, so alert goes off at this point and we see a potential, obviously, mitigation happening. So we need that mitigation to now follow through and create a new break of structure for that order flow to be created, which is what we get at this point here. Now, is the mitigation clear? It's between the open and the 50%. So for me, I'm not going to go down to the lower time frame. That's absolutely fine. Our impulsive OB was really nice and clear. We had momentum there. We had the imbalance. We then get our successful retrace that comes in, and then we get a nice move away. Okay, let's just mark out our 4-minute whole OB for now, and we're just going to check our 5-minute to make sure that our 5-minute isn't below. And no, it's not. We've got exactly the same OB on both time frames. Again, for me, the 4-minute's clearer, so I'm going to follow the 4-minute from here on. So straight down to the 1 minute to see if we can refine from there. Okay, so what's our refinement rules? Our refinement rules is very simple. It needs to be within the range of our base time frame OB. So it has to be within this range, and it has to be an OB. Straight away, what can we see? We can refine all the way down to this candle here. Did this candle break structure? Follow your structures. Break, 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 break. Breaks the high. Yes, it does. Is it an OB? Yes, it is. So that is going to be our POI for here. Is it small enough? 1.9 pips. Happy days. Under 2. We're all good. So let's go back to that base time frame and wait for price to come back. Okay, so obviously alert goes off. I set my alert a little above. Usually I'm watching it anyway. Very rare that obviously I walk away from the screen at this point. So let's go down to the 5-second and get rid of that. So this is our initial 5-second range. So we have this high for our intent, and let's continue to play. We create a low. Let's mark that out. Okay, we break that low. So what can we do? We can move our high. High moved. Let's get rid of that. It's not really need that. And then there we have our entry confirmation. We have our 5-second intent. Okay. Now in this scenario here, the only reason I didn't enter off the last sell candle is because it didn't give me enough space below. That's like 0.1? Yeah, 0.1. So obviously that's not enough space below. So down to the imbalance, extra bit of space. 1.5 was fine. I could have used 2, but to be honest with you, the IC spread, which is the obviously account I took this on, I went on Vantage and it was like 9. So I thought definitely not. Switch over to the IC. IC flickers between 2 and 3. So I guess I was being a little bit greedy here, and I could have used that 2 pip. But obviously the trade was so clear and the base time frame was so clear, and then our reaction on this time frame is so clear. I did want to squeeze as much R out as possible. And obviously if we did take it now, we could have re-entered if we wanted to. So let's just continue to play. So we create our 5-second high. Why do we need to know where that is? Because obviously it's our break-even point if we get a trigger and then a move back up. So here's our trade triggering. So we're not going to do anything until it breaks that structure. So we get that break of structure. So what do? We go break even. Okay. So what's the next important thing to do? We need to mark out our 1 to 10 for our partial. So let's do that. There's our 1 to 10. That's where we're going to obviously take our partials. How much partial you take is completely up to you. You guys know what my drill is. So let's just continue to play. Okay, so there's our 1 to 10 partial point. So 5R there for me taken off. And then if we go back to our base time frame that we were following our 4-minute, obviously our overall target for the structure in itself is going to be that high. And in this scenario, it worked out nicely because that high ended up being at that 1 to 20 as well, which generally is where I like to take my next partial to secure that 10R overall. So let's continue to watch. And there is our 1 to 20 hit. So happy days. So that is 10R overall. I saw on my phone a second ago that the BE has gone off. Yeah, so we've been taken out on the rest of the volume. So that 1 to 20 was hit, that structural point on the 4-minute was hit, and then we've obviously reversed from there It's funny, I was watching Tanz's breakdown this morning and he was talking about how, you can have sort of no trades for a week or two and then all of a sudden you can obviously get a really clear trade. And I think it's really important for you guys to understand that. Obviously, I know emotions take over, especially when you're in the learning phase. You think, oh, is this still working? When's the next trade going to come? But as myself and Tanza tried to tell you, August generally every year is the worst month in terms of, non-clear price action, and just not many opportunities. So heading out of August now into the new month, hopefully, well, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot more trades coming because last year these were my best months of the year. And yeah, if you didn't take this and you did miss it, I recommend, back testing it yourself. Go candle by candle. Understand that, quiet periods are going to happen. I think a lot of you, I have had a lot of DMs. I don't want to say moaning, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. But you just got to understand not every week is going to be a trading week. And sometimes you will get quiet periods, especially in sort of the August region of the year. You just got to take control of your emotions at the end of the day. The difference between a profitable trader and a non-profitable trader, they both can be exactly the same on the charts, but if one of them's got their emotions down and the other one's doesn't, even with the exact same skill level and knowledge level, you're going to have one profitable trader and one not profitable trader. I think the main thing that I used to do is when I didn't get many setups, I'd start taking trades that I wouldn't necessarily take. So when a base time frame just doesn't exactly look clear, there's no imbalance. You've got to really search for the mitigation. You've got to really search for your POI, and the momentum's not really there. It's just not looking great, and you think I haven't taken a trade in a while, so I'm just going to take it anyway. I think that's what I used to struggle with, and then when I sort of understood that I can walk away from structure that I'm not happy with or doesn't look exactly clear to me, I always know that the edge is there, and I know that there's going to be another setup coming. But anyway, enough waffling on. I hope that was helpful. Any questions, let me know, and I will speak to you all soon.